town councilwoman, who is unfortunately on her way out April 7th, and we're gonna miss her. I want to thank everybody for being here today. So far, there are 53 participants online. You can ask questions directly on Zoom. They're going to go to Haley Littleton, our communications director, and then she's typing them for me via Google Docs onto my iPad, so I'll be able to answer any questions. But let me just start with a few items. First of all, we've definitely gotten some emails. We've gotten a lot of emails lately about what's going on and what we're doing. Please understand that everything in regards to the current lockdown situation comes from the state of Colorado. So I can't tell you if your business is a necessary business or not. Everything comes directly from the state. So if you don't like, the fact that you feel you have to be shut down, that is really not a town of Breck thing. As a matter of fact, the town of Breck was ready to pull the trigger on March 15th. I can't even remember anymore, but originally, and Summit County Public Health actually instituted the first lockdown order, and after that it went to the state. So we're under the state's law right now. So questions about why are certain things locked down and others aren't are really for Governor Polis and the state administration, and not for the town of Breckenridge. What we're trying to do is mitigate as best we can what's going on in town with everybody locked down. A couple things have come out recently. Number one, we have dedicated $500,000 via a grant program through FERC for anyone that's employed in the town of Breck. That will be coming to fruition here pretty quickly. Don't call FERC today because it's not totally up and running. Stay on our website at townofbreckenridge.com for more information, and you know when you can apply.
Recently furloughed.
Oh, yeah. So, and recently furloughed, or if your hours have been drastically cut. Listen, if you're working somewhere and you have full hours, this is not for you. This is really for people that have lost their ability to make money. The second bundle of money we have done is for small businesses, and we're going to determine this evening at a council meeting what exactly small is. But we are going to put aside $1 million for assistance for small businesses, and that it'll be rent relief. That'll be an online application directly to the town, and that will be starting pretty quickly also. We're trying to, honestly, what we're trying to do is get this $1.5 million out as quickly as possible while the Fed and the state monies are, sort of dragging along. They're much more cumbersome to get things done than we are, so this money will be coming out pretty quickly. So those are the two big things that we're doing. All of us on council have been just working tirelessly. I applaud both the town council and the staff that is just, this is all we've been doing is COVID-19. It's all I dream about right now. It is, like most of you out there, I'm sure this is just almost unreal that this is what we're going through right now. But that's where we are. The council, the town staff, and myself are dedicated to making this as easy as possible for the residents. We know that what we're doing isn't, we can't do that much, but we're doing what we can. So we do appreciate all the great comments that we've been getting, and that really does make it easier. But no, we are trying as hard as we can. So if you have questions, go ahead and start sending them in on Zoom, and I'm happy to start answering them. Like I said, Gary and Wendy are also here to answer questions today. Virtually via Zoom. We will post the, I don't know what that meant, but so I don't have anything yet. What else can I tell you about? I have been speaking with both Senator Bennett's office and Congressman Joe Negus's office about the aid package coming out of Washington. We definitely have some concerns because some of the language that was in yesterday was stating that a county had to have more than 500,000 people in it in order to receive direct funds. Well, that doesn't work for the majority of the counties in Colorado, and it really doesn't work for Summit County, where we have 35,000 permanent residents here. So I contacted Joe Neguse immediately yesterday. We sent a letter to Senator Bennett and Senator Gardner. I did talk to Matthew from Senator Bennett's office yesterday. They understand, what our need is. So hopefully we can get some traction. I will tell you that Joe Neguse, as our congressman, has been doing a wonderful job in Washington. When I talked to him, he had talked to Bennett and Gardner, and he was about 30 minutes away from a phone call with Speaker Pelosi. So I feel like we have a little bit of traction in DC right now with Joe Neguse. Okay, here's a question. Is the post office open? I believe so. The post office is, first of all, federal, so I couldn't tell them to close if I wanted to. And secondly, they view that as an essential service. So the post office is open. When can I apply to FERC? Monday, we believe, will be the day. And please don't call now. They're already super overwhelmed. So Monday will be the day to start on that. It'll be a longer process. It'll be a grant process. You're going to have to have your landlord potentially involved, because what we'd like to do is do sort of a two-pronged attack where we give you some money for rent, but at the same time, your landlord either does some rent forgiveness or some rent deferral. And if you go to your landlord and say, hey, you got to help me with this. Can you take this couple months of rent and either forgive it, or take this couple months of rent and work it in the next 2 or 3 years? So we're looking for landlords to get creative and to help out, because in the end, any landlord that is listening right now, it is much better for you to keep your tenant and not lose 6 or 8 months worth of rent while you look for somebody to fill that hole. Be creative, work with your tenants, help them out. We're going to try to get money in some of these people's hands. That'll actually be a check directly to landlords. So Monday's the day. Yes, FERC will focus this money, this $500,000 will be rental assistance. That's what we're doing. And you can't sign up now because we do not have the program totally in place yet. We just decided just moments ago to do, yesterday, $500,000 for rent and $1 million for small business rent. So I know this seems like it's taking forever. I wish we could move faster, but we have to get the proper plan in place, the proper grant process in place. Otherwise, it'll be a cluster and everybody will just be disappointed. Can short-term rentals host essential personnel like hospital workers? That's a great question. I am going to have, I think that's an awesome question. I do not know the answer to that, but we will get an answer, and
I think the answer is yes.
we think the answer is yes, though. But I don't want you to get in trouble. So we'll have Haley Littleton find an answer and communicate directly back on that one. Who from council will distribute funds to businesses or decide on grants? So Gary Gallagher and Wendy Wolfe are the two that are working on this. Right now we're talking about making it for smaller businesses. So, we haven't decided what we're going to talk about this evening in a council meeting at 4 o'clock, whether it's 20 employees or 10 employees. We need to do some analysis that the staff is doing right now to find out exactly who falls into what category. There's a ton of places in town that employ 40 to 50 employees. They are probably not going to be eligible for this money. The money is finite, so we need to draw a line somewhere. As much as I'd rather just cut everybody a check, we are still a small town. The fact that the town of Breckenridge is giving $1.5 million to this, and the town of Denver did $4 million, I think speaks volumes about the dedication that our council has to helping ease some of this crisis. We are not working on primary mortgage rental, residential mortgage relief, but we have been talking to the banks. We have talked to First Bank, we've talked to Alpine Bank. You need to contact your mortgage lender directly. I know that the federal government is working on this also. So I would get in the queue as quickly as you can with your lender to find out what kind of relief there will be for you. Are we waiving plastic bag fees? Yes, we are. There are no plastic bag fees. We did have a discussion about the bags everybody owns, taking them to the store. We do not believe that soft material will transmit the virus.
Actually,
So
we didn't waive it, the state did.
the state waived the fee, we did. But is Jeffrey trying to get in? Or?
I asked Chris to
Okay.
pull him in.
So yeah, can we refer to it
I don't know
as
why we don't.
stay at home?
Hey, Eric, could I just,
Sure.
could
Hi,
I
Wendy.
make a little follow-up on the process for the small business rent relief?
Please do.
But we're very quickly working on a process that you will be able to apply online and through the town. So we again want to maintain social distancing through this whole process. And so our planning staff is working to bring up a kind of a survey monkey type of application process that we hope to have available on Monday. But again, all those details will be talked about this evening, and we're moving very rapidly to get it put together. And I think by very early next week that you will actually be able to apply, and then the town will be able to follow up with checks.
Thank you, Wendy. Somebody told me to refer to it as stay at home rather than lockdown. I will happily do that. So stay at home. It does sound better, I won't lie. So, other questions? Type them into Zoom and I'll get them right here in front of me and do my best to answer them.
I think we should.
Yeah.
Can we say something about that the stay-at-home order still allows people to get out and get some
Yeah,
exercise,
so-
but we want to discourage the gatherings. we're
Yeah,
seeing
so
nowadays?
I don't know how many of you have read the stay-at-home order or listened to Governor Polis's conference. One of the important things for us, and I think one of the real benefits to living where we live is, while you do have to stay at home, you can still go outside and walk your dog. You can jump on your bike and take a ride down the road. You can go skinning. Do not congregate in groups, though. That's really what this is about. If you can go out solo and don't do anything risky, jump on your bike and ride up French Gulch or something like that where the chance of you getting hurt is next to nothing. That's the important part of this for those of us that live here in Breck. We live here to recreate. We live here because of the mountains. You can still get out there, just don't do it in clusters of people. With your spouse or with your kids is fine, but don't go out with everybody that violates what Governor Polis is calling the law, the stay-at-home law. But it's okay to go outside. It's okay to get fresh air. That is so important for your mental health. I can't even begin to imagine what it's like in New York City or in some of the places in Italy where they're on full-on lockdown, true lockdown, not just stay at home, where they can't even leave their house except to go to the grocery store. So, at least we can get outside and enjoy the spring, the Breckenridge spring. So, all right, info regarding the qualifications for businesses to qualify. Wendy or Gary, do you want to talk about the qualifications for businesses to qualify for the loan?
Sure. We're trying to keep it very simple. And again, this is a little bit preliminary because the council hasn't even had a chance to discuss it. But we are currently looking at the businesses, of course, must be closed by Summit County order and unable to operate like from home. If they have limited takeout or mail order, that wouldn't count. We would still consider that business, but it does otherwise have to be closed. It needs to have a physical location in the town of Breckenridge with a monthly rent payment due to a landlord whom they have no ownership interest. In other words, if you own your building, then it's a different situation. If you own your business and your building, then we're looking at a more of a mortgage situation. And as Eric said, we would ask you to work with your bank. If the tenant has multiple locations, right now we're only going to be able to consider relief for one of those locations for a grant. Now that may be something that we discuss and we're able to change. But again, we're working within this $1 million that the council granted, and we're trying to make it go as far as we can. The business cannot be a seasonal business. It has to be open all year round to qualify. Right now, we're looking at the cutoff of 16 or fewer FTEs based on the 2020 Bolt report. The other consideration that we've put here is that we want to have the tenants provide evidence of sustainability. So in other words, we're really aiming at helping to offset rent for April, but this may go on a little longer than that, and we really would like to see evidence that the tenant is also working on an SBA loan or an application to refinance the business operation for some relief or something like that. And then finally, the most important thing here is that there has to be demonstrated by letter from the landlord that there will be some kind of a rent reduction, deferment, or a combination for at least 1 month. We're asking that the landlords be in this with us. So, and as Eric has said many times on this, that we're only going to get to the end zone here if the landlords and everybody participates in this program. So really that's the qualifications that we're looking at right now. We'll talk about it more tonight. I hope you can join us on the meeting and send your questions here to Eric if you have any, but the application process around that will be pretty simple. So again, we're hoping for some speed on this.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay, I got some other questions rolling in here. The first is, how are we encouraging or working with the governor to keep people from coming up here to recreate? 2 days ago, we had a pretty big call-in meeting with the county, the Forest Service, the state, Summit counties, open space. We have drafted a letter via the county to all the newspapers. I think it's going to go in the newspapers down in Denver to say, do not come up here. The governor's stay-at-home rule has made it a law that you can't get in your car in Denver and drive up here to recreate. How are we going to enforce that? I'm not really sure. We're really sort of counting on people's, people's belief in what's going on to not do that. And with the letter that we're sending out, pretty much telling people, stay in your own town. Trailheads right now are for permanent residents only. One of the issues is, there is going to be such a backlog in court after this opens up that for the sheriff to go out and write a bunch of tickets or put a bunch of summonses on people's cars is not really effective. We're really hoping that the way Polis has stated this order, that people are going to stay where they belong. So, it's not as airtight as I would like, but that's what's going to go on. Is Upper Blue considering not charging STO owners the higher sewage rate since it's not currently being used for STRs? That is not in our that's not in our charge. Upper Blue Sanitation is a completely separate special district that is its own governmental entity, much like Red, White, and Blue Fire. So any questions you have about sewage rates has to go directly to Upper Blue Sanitation. And I'm sure that I would assume they have some answers on their website already. I have a shop on Main Street. Can I conduct office work from there? I believe you can go in your office as long as you can lock the door and nobody else is allowed in. So
What the order says is you can have limited activity in your office to get some essential work done.
Limited activity in your office to get some essential work done. That's what the Colorado law now says. So there you go. When will we start testing for COVID? We're under public health, Summit County Public Health. If you listened to Governor Polis last night, he was very frustrated on the lack of testing in Colorado in general. Unfortunately, that is not something that we can do anything about. I have talked to Congressman Neguse about it. I've talked to Senator Bennett's office about it. They are also very frustrated with the way that the federal government has handled the testing of this virus. So I cannot give you a straight answer on that. Future economic planning, how are we going to be proactive after this passes? We're starting to talk about what the summer might look like. The problem is, without knowing when this will end, without knowing if this thing will resurface a couple times, like Dr. Fauci from the NIH was talking about last night. It is difficult for us to plan anything other than just trying to reignite what we have here. Right now to say we're going to have a big economic shift in Breckenridge, I just think is really premature. It is my personal hope that after everybody in Denver has been locked down for a couple of months, that they'll be ready to come up here and recreate, and we can really jumpstart the economy again. But that's just part of it. But we will be having those discussions. I mean, this will lead to a lot of things. Right now, I swear we're just hanging on by our fingernails, trying to get through this part of the crisis, trying to get people money. I'm sure the council has their own ideas about how we jumpstart after this, but we're just not there yet as a council trying to get through to this. And now that we have to do everything via teleconferencing, it's become so much more difficult for us to get our ideas across just to each other. So there is a hotline to find out exactly what is in the business order. That's 970-668-2992, or is it just 211? You can also just dial 211 from your phone. The state has set up an emergency hotline for COVID-19 and the order and other questions like that. Construction projects are allowed to continue. You have to follow the rules that the governor has laid down. I believe it's no more than 10 people on site at any time. The town has been working through a way to get some planning pieces of this done. So you can drop your project plans off the front door of town hall. We're also working on a way to get inspectors out there after a job site has been completely cleared of personnel. And I believe that is something that we're trying to institute by Monday. But I haven't talked to Eli, our head inspector, so I know he is working on that currently. Please consider businesses that operate and serve Breckenridge but are technically outside of town limits on Huron Road. I don't disagree with you, but the town's pot of money is pretty small, so we're limiting what we can give to the town of Breckenridge inside town limits only. You got to remember that we collect sales tax in the town of Breckenridge. That's the money we're using. And even if you do serve Breckenridge and you're on Huron Road, you're not paying sales tax to the town of Breck. But the county is talking about doing something like this or something similar. You need to reach out to the county commissioners. In particular, from up here, Elizabeth Lawrence is your county commissioner, so I would reach out to her. If a business landlord states that they will not reduce rent, I'm not sure yet. I think that's a pretty lame way to do business right now, though, with everything everybody is doing. I would be happy to make a call to your landlord if you'd like through this grant program. We will be reaching out to people, so maybe we can get some traction if they're saying no. Even if they're just doing a deferment with you, they don't necessarily have to decrease your rent, but allowing you to defer and work your rent to the next couple of years, I don't see why a landlord would not allow that. Maybe they say to you, look, I got to pay my common area and maintenance. That's really important, and you can negotiate where you pay, a fraction of your rent now and then pay it as you go along. So,
Eric, you may want to mention that you're intending to do a call with as many landlords as possible in order really to try to rally their support for these programs.
Yeah. So we're trying to figure out how to get as many landlords as we can on a call similar to this one. We had a call like this on Tuesday with the business community. That was great. We would love to have landlords on the phone with me so I can sort of explain where we're coming from. Probably is not going to happen until next week, though. I am just back to back video conferencing right now. So, but we are trying to get to that. I did get a reminder for people to vote. Democracy doesn't sleep, even during the COVID-19. So there is an election on April 7th. You've probably gotten your ballots. The county has graciously allowed us to use their drop box behind the county building in Breckenridge. So please vote drop it in the mail or drop it at that 24-hour drop box behind the county building here in Breck. Don't go to the town hall. If you leave it outside, Jeffrey's going to find it and, you know, change the vote on it. So what's the state of St. Anthony's? Are they taking overflow from Eagle? Do we know? We don't think so. Currently, we believe from the last EOC call yesterday that we're still sitting at about 10 cases. Anecdotally, I've heard about some people going to Denver. Anecdotally, we hear about people locked in their house that are sick. From a straight up official number, we're hearing 10. The doctors I've spoken with at the hospital feel pretty good about it at the moment. Of course, we could easily see a surge. You know, the stay-at-home just started yesterday. There have been people have been out mingling all over the place. If you went up French Gulch Road the other day, there was, 30 guys had built a jump and were drinking beers and hitting the jump. So if any of them had it, they all now have it. So
those 10 cases are not in the hospital.
And those 10 cases are not in the hospital either. So we think right now St. Anthony is in a good place. But, that can change in a heartbeat. If you'll notice, yesterday everything seemed like it was bad but not terrible in New York City, and this morning it is a massive crisis. So these things can switch in no time at all. How do we handle second homeowners? We have told people to go to their permanent residence. We're not going to walk around and tell people they got to leave. They own property. If they're here, they're here. But really, the talk from the town council has been, go to where you live permanently. Go to your permanent house. Do not hole up in Summit County. We have limited resources. We have limited infrastructure. You're better off wherever you are from. So please do not come here and hole up. I know it seems attractive, but the people that live here permanently, 365 days a year, are the ones that should be here right now. Not the people that live here for 2 weeks out of a year. And I know that is harsh, but that is what we are expecting as a town council. Are we considering changing June to 100% revenue loss? We just don't know yet. The way we did it currently is we made April and May 100% revenue loss, and then we did a 20% through the remainder of the year. We'll change as we go. We have cut virtually every project out. We're having discussions still about the major project, and that is the parking structure. But just so everybody understands, there's a couple of pieces to that. Number one, that money is a guaranteed revenue source that we'll pay for that from Vail Resorts. And number two, out of the $50 million that project will cost, about $15 million of that stays in the community. So this is a difficult conversation. The seven of us will have it. If you have an opinion one way or the other, send me an email at mayor@townofbreckenridge.com.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, Jeffrey.
Hey, on another note, getting back to the second homes, we've had some questions about VRBOs. If you see in your neighborhood what looks to be a second home that's being short-term VRBO, either a condo project, you can call the VRBO hotline to find out if that in fact is perhaps the rightful owner doing repairs or whatnot, or he's short-terming it. So that VRBO hotline can answer that question. I don't have the number offhand, but I'm sure Rick has it right there with you.
You have it on you?
Because he's awesome.
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. I can
Short-term rental.
If one of the staff can send me the short-term rental hotline, that'd be great. The town of Breck is on a hiring freeze right now for all positions and summer positions. We don't know where we're going yet. We're trying to save as much money as we can as a town, as quickly as we can. So the town is not hiring anybody. We are super short in the police department though, so we may be hiring a few officers. The problem with the police officer hiring is if we don't get somebody laterally come from another department and we have to put somebody through the school, it really takes a long time. It's great that there aren't a lot of people here, but there's still a need for the officers to be patrolling, to act as first responders, et cetera, et cetera. So Freelance workers and the self-employed be in the business relief. The relief doesn't have interest. It's not a loan. It's a straight up grant, and it's for rent. If you're working from your house, I don't think you're going to be eligible. If you did not get your ballot in the mail, you can still vote. Call 970-547-3126. It's 547-3126. That's a clerk's office, and they'll get you a new ballot. Remember to fill out the census. It's very important for us to get federal monies as they come available, not just for the COVID, but for everything else that we try to do, like electric buses and, you know, the dam project, things that are really important for the next, and that's for the next decade. So it's important that everybody fill out the census. We don't enforce the people not skiing uphill. That's on the ski area and the Forest Service. That's their land. The town and the sheriff's office definitely have an agreement to handle some of that stuff. That's one of those things. Okay, the short-term rental hotline. Write this down if you need. 970-368-2044. If somebody is short-term renting their home right now and it's not to healthcare workers or something like that, call that number and we'll take care of it. If your landlord has granted a rent deferral for April, you can still apply at FERC for the summer. This is going to be an ongoing thing. We understand that. We expect your landlord to grant a deferral. We're trying to work through this so we get some help from the landlords. If people are short-term renting their home illegally, can we take away their license? We can definitely talk about that. The town does have the power to suspend licenses, and that's a pretty big infraction right now. Not only from our end saying that you can't do this, but the stay-at-home rule from the governor, I think, gives a lot of weight right now. Let's see.
It's important to state that any of these grants, checks aren't going to individuals. Right.
Okay. And anybody can still apply at FERC for FERC's regular money, too. FERC's got money, and then we've given FERC another $500,000 just for rent abatement. And those checks will not go to you personally. They will go to your landlord. That gives your landlord your landlord needs to be involved in this. This is important for them too. If they're going to get that check from FERC, they need to help you out. So the last one was from Kelly Owens, who couldn't voice in for some reason, but
FERC also has food assistance.
FERC has food assistance. FERC's doing an amazing job. All the county towns in the county gave FERC some money at the start of last week to help get through this stuff. And Father Dyer also has a food pantry, so that is available. So hopefully nobody's starving at the moment.
We expect the grocery stores to remain open.
And we do expect the grocery stores to remain open. If any of you have been there, the shelves are stocked again, which is one of the reasons that we've asked only permanent residents to be here. This way, the grocery stores in our community can handle the people that live here. So there's not a rush on people deciding that they're going to come and holiday here for the duration of COVID. So please, if you're watching this and you're not here and you're planning on jumping in your car with all your stuff and coming out, stay where you are. Stay in your permanent residence. The $1.5 million is coming out of the general fund. It is, depending on who you're talking to, it either comes out of February's sales tax, or it will come out of some capital spend that we were going to do this year. We've pushed back a good portion of our capital spending now for at least 1 year, except for some major projects like the dam. The dam has to be fixed no matter what, and we did get half of the money from FEMA. So we are definitely pushing on with the dam project. We are definitely discussing the parking structure, but a lot of the other things that we planned this year are done for the year at least, and we're going to push them off. One of the issues we're having though is some of the things we need to do, like asphalt overlay, which really does need to be done every year, are done by local contractors. Those are the things we want to continue to do. They're not massive ticket items. They do cost money, of course, but we would like to continue with some of these things. We do feel that, you know, there is a requirement of government to keep the roads, keep the lights, keep the streets plowed, the things that really, when you think of government, that you think we should be taking care of. We really do want to take care of those things first and foremost, as well as trying to get some money out to help with rent and et cetera. Are beds available at St. Anthony's if we have a surge? Yes, there are beds available.
They have plans.
They have plans. How can we help our healthcare workers? So mental health resources right now are generally, at least, you know, that you can go to is Building Hope. If you go to buildinghopesummit.org, they have phone conferencing, teleconferencing, all kinds of stuff. The county and Centura are taking care of their own employees. They exist outside of our control. You know, we're happy, anything they ask, we're happy to chat with them about. If there is a need for restaurants to provide meals, I guarantee you that the Breckenridge Restaurant Association would be happy to be involved. Somebody just needs to reach out from Centura to talk to us about that. Or if you are with that group, you can go on the Breckenridge Restaurant Association's website, send a message to Corey Mim, and I'm sure she'll be happy to arrange stuff. I personally would be happy to provide some food from my restaurant for anybody that is, you know, in the thick of it. Have we started brainstorming how to welcome back visitors yet? The council hasn't entirely yet because we're so busy handling the crisis. The Breckenridge Tourism Office is on it already. They are constantly working on how we're going to turn this thing around when the time comes. Lucy Kay and Brett Howard and their team are working constantly right now, and not sitting next to each other, but you know, they're all in their homes working. And I think once we can open the town back up to guests, I think we'll have a robust plan in place to get people back up here, while still adhering to our values. You know, we're not just, we don't want to just go back to, you know, get away from some of the things we've been working on and sort of changing the flavor of our events. You know, we're not going to do a booze event every weekend just to get people back up here. We really want to stay inside of our, the guidelines that we've set as a community for who we want to bring up here, how we want to bring them up. But yeah, we are definitely, we're definitely working on it. You know, the future economic resiliency is also something that we will talk about. It's something that we've talked about in the past. You know, we are a tourist community. It is difficult the way that the town generates money through sales tax to get money from, you know, somebody that wants to start a tech company here. And how do they pay into the town? You know, the money that they pay in taxes generally goes to the state. So those are big, weighty discussions. And right now, honestly, in the middle of this crisis, we just don't have the time to get through that. But we will. We definitely will. These are definitely things we've already started to discuss. So I appreciate that question. It's really important. Jeffrey, did you have something to say?
No.
Oh, hey, it says you raised your hand. Jeffrey and Kelly Owens are with us right now, and Kelly has somebody with her. So yeah, so we are, you know, we will be looking at the future of the town once we hammer through this this part of it. You know, like I said earlier, this is a 24/7 thing that we're dealing with as a council right now. So we definitely are working on this. What about childcare facilities? They are needed year round. We agree. Kelly, can you say a few words about the childcare facilities for me, please.
Yeah, we had a great meeting yesterday just talking about whether we're essential and whether the governor would allow them to stay open. And although it sounds like they would technically be allowed, we have a real duty to our community to keep everyone healthy. And I think as everyone who has kids in childcare knows, they are a very big vector for germs to be transferring. So right now, as a community, as a childcare community, we are trying to make sure that our first responders have the care that they need, and essential employees like that. We're trying to not put all those kiddos in one place because they are inherently exposed to more germs, with parents coming and going from the hospital, or you know, firefighters or police. So we're supporting those people, and we have the county is also reaching out to make sure that everyone has the care they need. But you know, our responsibility is to flatten the curve, and we do not want to put our first responders and our hospital people in the position where they don't have enough resources, and that means that people need to be staying at home. So I know that it's a burden. Well, a lovely burden, but still I know it's difficult to work and have kids. I've got 3 kids at home with me, but we have to do what's right now. And the childcare facilities are willing to be ready as soon as it's deemed safe for people to, you know, be out in the community working again. But right now they are all remaining closed.
Thank you, Kelly. I got a question. Are town employees still receiving benefits and pay while they can't work?
Many of them are working remotely.
Many of them are working from home. Of course, the bus drivers are not driving the buses, but yes, we are paying so that when we reopen, we have staff to do the things we need to do, like run the rec center and use the buses. Some of the seasonal employees from the winter are closing out, but for the most part, everybody that's a full-time Town of Breck employee is still on the payroll, still receiving their benefits.
And a lot of them are doing training and things like that. So they are still staying busy. It's not like they're just on vacation or something.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. That's a great point. Other questions? We got 103 people online today. I think that's fantastic that everybody is so interested in what's going on. We really appreciate all the sacrifices everybody's been making, all the you know, the great emails that you've been sending, the civility of the questions. We understand how hard this is. You know, there are things that are not nearly this difficult, that we get some nasty emails, and people have been pretty cool about it. So thank you for that. It definitely makes it easier. You know, we're all so on edge as it is to begin with, that it's nice that we get it. We understand how just terrible this is for everybody. You know, all of us, this affects all of us. You know, I have a building that's shut down. I have a restaurant that's, you know, limping along right now. We're all in this together. Please understand that. We get it. We're in the same situation with you. None of us are career politicians. This is in general a side hustle for all of us. So the fact that the council, I'm really just so proud of the council for stepping up in the way that they have, and nobody has shirked a duty at all. Everybody has just stepped up and I think done a wonderful job. So, you know, I got a great comment about to encourage people to clean up around town. That'd be great. If you're out walking around and you see some garbage, wear some gloves, go pick some stuff up if you can.
We're gonna hold up on any organized cleanups.
Yeah, we're not gonna have any organized cleanups for a while, but you know what, if you're out and about and you see some trash, I always think that's a great thing for community members to do, is help keep the town clean, especially now as the snow starts to melt.
Eric, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey.
If anyone has the wherewithal, if anyone out there can afford it, I know a lot of people have been paying, but if anyone does have some disposable income, now would be a great time to buy a gift certificate from the restaurants or the shops, if you can do that online, because a lot of these people are going to need just some cash flow to get through this tough time. So if you can't afford it and you can do it in a healthy manner, in other words, online without having human contact, please get a gift certificate. So when these restaurants and shops open up, you'll have some money to spend, and they'll have some money to work through this interim period.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the restaurants, the association may want to think about doing another passport program earlier than later, and just get a nice fusion of money coming in sooner.
You know, Gary, one of the things I talked about yesterday during the, or 2 days ago, during the business community one, was to do potentially a bigger passport for the summer that included retail and maybe lodging also. So maybe we can do more of a town-wide passport this summer. So, you know, somebody asked about what we could do, and I mentioned that, and then I totally forgot about it until you.
And I just got a text from someone from BOSAC, and they suggested if you want to get a little bit of exercise while doing some good, participate in a early duty-free event. We do that every year where we pick up dog poop. So if you feel like it, you want to do some social distancing, have a romantic afternoon just with you and your spouse, go out and pick up some dog poop, even if you don't have a dog. And you'll burn some calories and do some good for the community. And I do it. I wear leg weights to get a better workout when I do it.
For those.
Hey, you guys, can I just mention one thing about if you don't know who's, you know, open online for business, One Breckenridge has everybody listed there, and it's awesome. And there's lots and lots of people who are doing curbside pickup right now. So that's a great way if you want to actually buy something and or even a gift certificate. But the whole list is on there, and it's very available. It's a really great site.
Thank you, Kelly. I got a couple more questions. We're getting close to the end here, but one is about mortgages. You know, I agree. Your lender really, there should be some federal relief coming through the lenders right now. You know, nobody knows exactly how the lenders are going to respond, but the feds are definitely on that. So please reach out to your mortgage holder as soon as you can and find out what they're doing. Dan Corwin, I got your question. I'm going to actually pass this along to Wendy and Gary. It's more about the makeup of the committee handing out the grants and how the grant process works. And he makes a couple good points. So I'm going to have Haley send that to Gary and Wendy since they're running that one. Anyone else? We got time for a couple more questions. I got most of the council here.
Just mentioned the
the signage. Yeah. So we did relax signage code for the time being. You can put out a sandwich board. All the things that we don't normally allow, you can do right now. You can put a banner in the window. All the stuff that, you know, we just aren't really in favor of, you can do now. If you have a business that can be seeing customers, you can do some stuff. So
typically only would apply to a restaurant.
You know, typically now really just applies to restaurants. So the way that the governor wrote the stay-at-home order. How's the council taking care of themselves during this difficult time? I have been getting out every day, either on a bike or on skis, so I'm good. Not sleeping well, but, you know, I don't know if anybody is. Jeffrey, how about you?
You know what? I've been trying to do some safe cross-country skiing just with me and my boss, and doing some social distancing. But people actually say that we've been practicing social distancing for years because we have no friends. But I too, like I think everyone on the council, have been losing sleep over this. I just want to make sure we do the right thing, and we take it to heart.
Kelly?
Sorry. I've been trying to become a teacher in my spare time. So, you know, here's one of my students / coworkers. Hold on just a second.
That's awesome. Gary, how about you?
Getting a little exercise, but probably eating more than I normally do and putting on a few pounds.
No, no, you look great, Gary.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
And Wendy, how about you?
Yeah, you know, I'm in actually about day 11 of being pretty isolated because I happen to fall into one of those higher risk categories. Hate to admit it, but I do still get out, and I've been hiking some of the nearby trails where I have encountered more moose. I think the moose think that all the people have gone away and it's their town now, but you know, so you have to kind of watch out for that. But yeah, I mean, being able to get outside here is still gold. So, you know, getting through.
Yeah. Well, so there you have it. There's the answer to that question. Everybody's doing what they can. And we want you guys to, everybody listening, we'd like you all to do what you can too, to get outside, get a little, you know, it's not just physical health, it's mental health too. To get out and try to lose yourself a little bit in the mountains, or run away from a moose, or, you know, whatever it is, it's really important for everybody. And if you're having some serious mental issues, please reach out to Building Hope. BuildingHopeSummit.org. They've got counselors. They can really help. This is a rough go. This is a rough go for everybody. So reach out. If you know somebody that's been locked in their house, say, make a call to a few people a day. You know, if you know some people that you haven't seen, this is a good time to connect with as many people as you can by phone, FaceTime. I know a lot of people are doing Zoom happy hours, and that's awesome. So, you know, continue doing stuff like that. You know, a lot of times, especially in the winter, we get isolated from our neighbors to begin with. And, you know, now's a good time to pick up the phone, make a call, and say hi. Last question for today, and then we got all kinds of other stuff to take care of, but are we talking to other mountain towns and ski resorts of what we can all do during this time? Yeah, you know, we have some organizations like the Colorado Association of Ski Towns where we reach out to each other. I have a couple other mayors that I've become fairly close with over the years, like Jim, who's the mayor of Crested Butte, and we've been talking on the phone. Unfortunately, Dave Chapin in Vail has the COVID-19 right now, so I'm trying to let him get back in health. But yeah, we do reach out. There's the Northwest Council of Governments. There's the CAST group, Colorado Municipal League. We have a lot of organizations that we talk countywide daily. You know, I always think of countywide as our own government. So, you know, I've been talking with Elizabeth Lawrence quite often, as well as our council, to make sure that we know what we're doing. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. We have a couple other chats to get to. Tonight at 4 o'clock, we have a town council meeting where we're going to discuss some of the things we talked about today. So you can zoom in on that one too. We will probably not take a lot of comments for that one. Please, if you got stuff you want to talk to me about, or anybody on council, mayor@townofbreckenridge.com. We will answer your emails. Either the staff can provide quick answers, or I will provide answers, or a phone call. The same with the rest of the council. We've been reaching out to everybody to get help answering these questions. It's a rough time. Thank you all. I want to thank the council for being here this morning and helping out. And thank everybody for everything you've been doing during this crisis. And a big thanks to Rick, the town manager, and Shannon, the assistant town manager, for everything they've been doing. I don't think they've left this building in the last 15 days. So thank you, everyone. I think, did we have anything else? I think that's all we have today. Stay safe. Keep your circle super small now, and stay in your home. If you have questions about what the governor did last night, you can go to townofbreckenridge.com. We'll have the order posted, and 211 if you just want to make a phone call. It goes right to their information site. So Thanks, everyone. Take care of yourselves.